Sometimes art is prophetic, and sometimes I don't know how to offset it. The words too authentic to constantly do what I do and augment it. Y'all talk a big game, can't tell if y'all meant it. If seconds turns to minutes, the ticking will tell all. Will you hold firm or steadily fall? Will you conform with the ways of the world? Or will you give the world everything that you are? Make them fuckers move around you, kinda like sound do. Break out of everything that they had you bound to. You got knocked down, ho, get ready for round two. It's round two. Get ready for round two. Come back, run rap, run laps around these cats, jump back, kiss myself, still keeping me intact. Weird and black, they for that, hold up, steer it back. Weird and black, they revere that. Yup, you hear that?
Turnstile, switch it up. Young nigga raised hard, he learned not to give a fuck. Young nigga came far, still never give enough. Coming with the flavor, delicious, so she lick it up. Bust down, stick it up, I put it down, so pick it up. Scut town, saviors, done some till he shift to musk. Stench so stank that the shit compare soft to us. Crud so dank, make your face much dripping, cuz club go shake when the bass gets to hitting ya. They ain't really hearing us, but they gon' feel something when the way is paved clear enough. I don't fear nothing but the fate is God really not. Well, fuck it, got the world in my hands, and that's real enough. Fuck it, got the world in my hands, gold forms to touch. Might just spend it all one time to give it all to us. Yeah, give it all to us.
Yeah, this that hip hop body rock, hardcore karate chop, neo-Nazi nasty, not feel it in my chest. How could you wear that name? Must be automatic shame. He's an automatic lame, heard it from the best. Fresh flow, let's go. Plus I got a lot of heart. It's necessary when you dabble in this art. Grab canvas, paint picture, use them acrylics, paint a picture so vivid the people gotta feel it like the kava. Lyrics bear fruit like guava. Words spilling out of my brain like lava. Spills out the top of a volcano, and they know that A-Right is not the one to play no. I'm Kano in Mortal Kombat, cause the lyrics like blades. Aim it at your jugular when I'm on stage. Until you heard me spit, homie, you ain't heard rage. On another chapter, so turn a turn. Okay, got that out my system. A-Right on another planet, dog, you must have missed them. When I do it, how I do it's of my own volition. Go make my destination even in the worst condition. My crew's the Blues Brothers, cause you know we on a mission. Eternity of roses I make bumping in your system. I mean, banging in it, I'm still hanging in it. I got a gang of wisdom, I got a gang of rhythms. I got a lot of soul, I found the pot of gold. I'm wrapping that shit up, gon' sell it to the globe. I got some game to give them, they don't really want, but they really need it. And I want you to succeed, I want you to be free. I want you to remove every obstacle from being what you truly wanna be. I truly wanna see, and I can only lead by example. So here's a sample for me, so get up.
the one drinking beer. I'm drinking water.
2 touchdowns a game?
Yes, in the game. You're tripping. How you high? No, it is Super Bowl time.
I don't know what we're doing in that front office, man.
Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this.
Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said.
Her.
Fuck.
Her upset.
Are those crutches?
You can see Ryan's crutches.
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to your favorite podcast on the internet. This is After Further Review, episode 149. I am your outside potato cam co-host, Jalen Brown.
I'm your outside potato head co-host, Malin.
I'm your angry old man from the PNW, G-Money.
Damn right.
And our special guest this week, Junebug. Thanks for joining us again for the second week. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, all the way here from DC.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming out
Representing
again
the Cowboys.
and putting up with us for a second week in a row.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
You know what's
My
great
pleasure.
is that have some people from the DC that would be on the show every now and then, but I think Junebug has already hit the consecutive streak on appearances.
We do have some more friends of the show from DC who are not as consistent already.
Yeah.
They're Commanders fans. So they're used to missing things like the playoffs and winning records.
Yeah.
Yeah. We may, I won't say any names. We may have some other folks joining us throughout the show. We'll see what happens. But
Man, Forehead Jenkins better show up.
Yes, please excuse the stream this week, folks. It's probably a bit choppy. I am on my laptop, not the usual computer that we do the show from. So it just kind of is what it is. But you should be able to hear us just fine. So if you are not aware, that is right. I'm very not used to doing this.
We're not used to doing this.
Opening cheers to everybody.
Beautiful.
Cheers.
Love it.
Slanjava.
Oh, that feels right. That feels right.
It's a little throwback.
Little throwback. And your little is
Yes.
a throwback too, because
Had to bring it
still
back.
can't handle your shots.
We gotta go back
Before
to our
we get
roots
started, Joe, I want
sometimes.
to hear something crazy. That happened today.
Oh, go ahead.
I found a bottle of Buffalo Trace,
Ooh.
and it's been so hot in the state of Florida that I forgot to bring it in my house. And I got in my car on Monday. I was like, why does my car smell weird? And I looked down. I went to pick up the bag. The bottle was a little bit lighter because it got so hot that the foil opened up and the cork shot off
Wow.
out of the Buffalo Trace. I lost about a quarter of the bottle
Oh my
Wow.
on the passenger floorboard of my car. So if I get pulled over,
How long was it in your car?
for like less than 24 hours, Sunday.
Wow.
My car's Sunday.
Wow.
And it blew the foil off and the cork shot off the bottle.
Jeez.
I was like, wow. Okay. All right, Florida. Thanks. Appreciate it.
That's that Florida science for you. Makes absolutely no sense, but
Put it on the science fair for adults.
right.
They did me first place at the city. That's bad for me.
Yeah, folks, if you don't know, you can watch us live on YouTube every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you just click the first link down in your podcast description, you'll be taken to the replay of Versa. If you are one of those few people that watches us on YouTube, we do have a podcast version of the show. Just click the first link in the YouTube description below. So, With that being said, let's get into the actual show this week, shall we? We're going to start things off by predicting the NFC North. We're continuing our divisional predictions, going team by team, saying who's going to win the division, and then who are the runner-ups are going to be, and who's going to finish with what record. So NFC North is where we're at. We've got the Lions, the Packers, the Bears, and the Vikings. Let's start off with the last winner of this division. Let's go with the Vikings here. We'll start hot. Malin, would you like to go first?
I would actually love to go second here. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty.
All right. We'll have Junebug. You want to go first?
I'll go. Yeah.
Oh, all right, G Money.
Yeah,
Money.
all right.
Junebug,
G-Money, go.
if he can go. He's a visiting.
Right. So
At this point, one of us got to go.
yeah, well, so what I got Minnesota, and I got them going 10-7 this season. I don't. The defense is always suspect to me. They're going to have a tougher schedule. They lost Dalvin Cook. The offensive line, I think, is still a little suspect. So, some notable losses. They're going to lose to the Vikings. They're going to lose to the Chargers. I said the Vikings. I'm sorry. They're going to lose to the Eagles. They're going to lose to the Chargers. They're going to probably split with the Packers. And then they're going to lose both of them to the Lions. And they'll probably split with the Bears. So, and they'll beat up on the bad teams, but the good teams they're going to have trouble with. But I think they're going to eke out a 10-7 record.
All right, 10-7 from Junebug. G Money.
Yep.
I'm with Junebug there. I got him going 10-7. Notable wins. I don't know if that's as notable or not. I haven't beaten the Chargers, and that's just because I think they have bad coaching. Not they have bad players. I just don't think that coaching staff is right. Definitely not their head coach. But I have them beating the Chiefs in Week 5. I have them beating the 49ers in Week 7. Not quite sure who the quarterback is. It looks like right now it's going to be Purdy. But as we all know, Shanahan likes to kill his quarterbacks. So Week 7 could be Purdy, could be any one of the other quarterbacks I have, or someone we don't even know yet. And I actually have them sweeping the Packers. I just don't see the Packers being, without Aaron Rodgers. And let's be honest, the Packers last year didn't really have a good defense. They don't have a good defense now. And you take away, two-time MVP, even though he played subpar last year, I just don't see.
Saying 10-7, like it's hard to, disagree with a couple of old bloods there. I feel really bad. Like I don't know if I'm overshooting it now. Now I feel like stupid saying this, but I got them going 13-4.
Wow.
Got him going 13-4 for mainly one reason. I think this offense is plug and play at running back. I do not think that Dalvin Cook is as special to the Minnesota offense is what maybe we've been led to believe because of where he was drafted at and where he came from at Florida State. And we'll see. I mean, stranger things have happened. The fact that Dalvin Cook's be playing with Aaron Rodgers, that's just freaking nuts. But, I mean, like G Money said, I got them beating the Chargers, and I also have them beating the Chiefs. But I have them kind of going 4-2 with the division. But I have them going roughshod over teams with winning records at 8-1, which was interesting to me as I ran through all of the 18 weeks. I guess a surprising loss to me is that I have them losing to Green Bay in Week 17. I think that's going to be a little bit of a trap game for them because with the way I had it going, they were winning so much. Then they're going to lock up the number 2 seed. And I have the Raiders beating them in Week 14. So I think that's probably the most surprising things. Believer in them because they don't have I mean, just the NFC North is just wild this year.
Yeah.
I don't think that any of us really knows. It's really kind of hard to predict what's going to happen. Like everyone's high on the Lions, but why are we so high on the Lions? Because the coach wanted to eat kneecaps and because of Jared Goff. That makes me nervous. But then again, at some points, I understand the hype. The Bears with Justin Fields. I think he hydroplanes in wet grass better than he throws a football. And I don't know anything about Jordan Love right now, so I think they're going to take care of the division this year. I think you got to strike while the iron's hot, while the Packers are in between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. God's sakes.
So I am going to be the pessimistic one here on Minnesota. I've got them winning 8 games this year, and I think they kind of peaked out last year. Kirk Cousins is just one of those guys where it's kind of a roller coaster ride with him. He'll have those years where he'll make the playoffs and he looks good, never looks great, but and then he'll have those other years where you kind of forget he's even in the NFL. And the big part, though, is just how bad their defense was last year. And I think that now that teams know that they're without Dalvin Cook, they're a bit heavy on Justin Jefferson, or a bit, heavy relying on Justin Jefferson. I know they have the rookie who's now lining up across him, who apparently looks really good in training camp, but we'll see. I don't know. It just feels like the Vikings have kind of been figured out, and it's like we all know what they're about. And their defense is just god awful, and I've got really not much faith in the Vikings this year as far as kind of notable wins go or notable losses. They'll beat up on the teams that they should, but the better opponents,
Is it Nestor here?
Yeah, I know.
I really wish Nestor was here, because if Nestor was here, he'd save me, because he probably has the Vikings winning 15 games. See, I will tell you one thing, Jalen. Like, at some point, your mic and your video is cutting out a little bit. So
yeah, it's probably my laptop is gonna explode if it. But
so if I do start talking while you're talking, it's because you cut out, and I'm trying to fill dead space. I'm not trying to run for you. All right, just want to let you know.
Sounds
You
good.
get dark on us twice.
Yeah. So let's move on to. Let's do the Lions next. Sorry, Junebug. We'll go start with you again.
Okay. So the Lions, a very interesting team coming up this season. Everyone is high on them, like my man just said. And I'm like, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be good enough to win a division. I have them at also 10-7 with the Vikings, but I got them taking the division. I think they'll just have a better divisional record than the Vikings, but I think 10 wins is where they're at. I mean, because they still got Jared Goff as a quarterback. And we all know that Jared Goff is good to drop 2 or 3 games just because he's Jared Goff. I mean, ever since I watched him play that Super Bowl versus Tampa, what was it? No, Super Bowl. He just looked god awful in that game. He just didn't know how to get out of his own way in that game. And I understand, but he was playing against the Patriots, but still. And he had Tom Brady on the other side, but still, he just looked terrible. So a couple of notable wins. I think they will beat the Seahawks at home. I think they're going to beat the Packers both times. They're going to beat the Bucks, teams like that. But a loss that I think is going to get them. I think the Falcons are going to go to Detroit and beat them. I think the Falcons are going to sneak up and beat them. I think that's one of those games. And then the last 3 games of the season is going to be very telling, because they have they have the Vikings, they have the Cowboys, and then back to the Vikings again. That's going to be very telling about this team, that stretch of games. So we're going to see what they do. But again, I got them at 10-7. So
All right. G Money.
You know, I don't know what it is with Junebug there, but we seem to be in Pacifico here. I got him 10-7 and winning the division. I look at it. He was talking about. JB was talking about the last 5 games. I have him actually going 4-1 in the last 5 games, where they sweep the Vikings, with their only loss being Week 17 at the Cowboys. You know, offensively, even with the losses at running back that they had, I still think they're going to average, for the most part, probably 28 points a game. Defensively, they're getting better. I mean, that defense last year wasn't shabby. It wasn't, and I think it's probably going to be the best defense in the NFC North. I also do have them beating my Seahawks in Week 2. That's only because my Seahawks are trying to get everything together.
All right. Go ahead, Malin.
I mean, I gotta admit, I have not heard a Seahawks fan, a Cowboys fan agree so much. Everybody agreed that Ezekiel Elliott was eating more peanut butter than Campbell's soup. But I got the Lions going 11-6. Okay. I actually think that's a little bit low. Again, I'm going to blame it on the Buffalo Trace. Follow me, people. Jamar Gibbs. I think he has the potential to be the best rookie running back this year. Maybe not career, because Byron Robinson, that's his name from Atlanta, right? Robinson, that's his name.
Bijan.
Yes. But I think Jamar Gibbs is going to be in a better offense than being killer. Had to take a P test. But he's going to miss 6 games. And so you're going to have to look at what is this offense going to be like for the first 6 games when you don't have someone lining up opposite of Brown, but they still got that tight end. What's his name? Hobbs? Is Hobbs his name?
Hodgins,
I think it's Hobbs.
the one from.
I really hope.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to pull names out my ass right now. But, you know, they're going – but here's the crazy thing, though. I think they're going to go 8 – with the way that I had it run down, they went 8-0 against teams with losing records, but 3-6 against teams with winning records. When they went up against teams that were pound for pound the same as them, they ended up kind of falling on the wayside a little bit. You know, I got them beating the Bucks. I'm sorry, Gary. I got us beating the Lions week 2. I can't not go homer 2 weeks in. I got them beating the Falcons just because the Falcons beat us last year, Gary. So I'm really, obviously, I'm really analytical with the way I pick my games here. They beat the Bucks because they're the Bucks and fuck Baker Mayfield. But they're going to lose to some teams like Baltimore. They're going to beat the Bears, because who isn't really going to beat the Bears? Oddly enough, in Week 15, I got little bitty big-headed ass Russell Wilson beating the Lions in Week 15. I think by then Sean Payton will probably have them running on at least 3 cylinders. They'll be running up there 30 miles an hour like a Geo Metro from the early 90s. They're not going to quite have 4. They're going to have 3 doors and 3 cylinders like that Geo Metro used to have. And talking about the Broncos, I don't know if you guys noticed it. Have you guys seen the pictures of Russell Wilson wearing the helmet with that big-ass pad? This helmet looks like a fucking Funko Doll, like a bobblehead out there, because he's so goddamn little. It's hilarious. You guys got to look at it. But at the end of the day, 11-6. I think they're the 5 seed. I think they're the first wild card is what I got right now. And so but I'm nervous being high on them, though, because they are the Lions. And they had a good half of football last year, not a full season worth of good football. And they did lose some games they should have won in the first. But, you know, when you look at teams that have really great second halves of the year, you can end up being high on them, and then you get snake bit picking them to do great because you're playing off of what they did the second half of the year, and then they end up being like the Cleveland Browns for a full 17 games. So I don't know. So 11-6, winning the division, we all could just look really fucking stupid by the end of the year. But with what we have in front of us, on paper, 11-6 playoffs.
Yes, I am also on this Restore the Roar train here. I've got them at 10-7, and I think that will be enough to win this division in the end. They're kind of notable wins here. I can't see them coming out and winning. First 2 weeks will be kind of rough. I think they'll drop the first two games. It's Kansas City and Seattle. However, if they do come out and shock the world in that season opener against Kansas City, look out. You know, we're not going to hear the end of it from the Lions Nation because they're going to be on fucking fire. And I would love to see it. But, yeah, I think they'll lose to Baltimore as well. After that, though, I think they're going to really start to pick it up and beat like Vegas, the first Chicago, Green Bay meetings. They'll start to kind of roll in the middle of the season and towards the end and just lose to maybe just Dallas and that second Chicago game. But other than that, I think the Lions will look really, really sharp this year. I did just hear about the Jameson Williams stuff that he apparently was holding his hamstring today at a practice, so that's not good. But assuming that he'll be all right.
He's going to miss 6 weeks, so that's I'm not really that worried about.
Right. Assuming it's nothing serious, he's got 6 weeks anyway. But yeah, I think their offense should look pretty good. Their defense should still be really, really solid, and giving Dan Campbell another year at the helm will only help. So I'm buying into the Lions here. I'm on the bullish Lions train for sure.
What do you guys think the NFL is trying to tell everybody by having the Lions be week 1 with Kansas City? Wasn't that a little bit weird?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a stretch, right?
Because normally it's either a Super Bowl rematch or the rematch of the NFC or AFC championship games, you know? That's what you end up seeing. And I don't know, maybe because wasn't Detroit on Hard Knocks last year?
They were.
Maybe they just felt like that entertainment value, and then they just figured that they were going to be a high-flying offense, and they had a lot of young defensive talent that it would be a good game. But now I would have gone somewhere else. I'd have gone to Kansas City, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Buffalo if I was going to do that, or Kansas City. I'm trying to think of a team in the NFC aside from Philly because they're already scheduled to play them.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Well, you could move that. You could move that and play it in Kansas City.
I think KC in Cincy is probably the game to go. I don't know. I just remember when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, which was a long time ago. I get it, people. As long as the Cowboys, but it was a while ago. We had to play the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, and we ended up seeing them in the NFC Championship game, right? Mm-hmm. In games past, I remember the Patriots had to play the Steelers, like a rival of them. I don't really see Kansas City and Detroit being rivals. I don't think Kansas City remembers that Detroit's a city, to be honest with you. So it just baffled me when they came out with that week 1.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's a good question, though, because it does seem like they're also buying into the Restore the Roar hype here. I don't know. It's weird. I just hope it's a good game. That's all I can ask for at this point. It's just hope the Lions don't get blown out.
Just makes me sick to my stomach a little bit when you keep saying Restore the Roar. I
love it. I love everything about it.
Sit well with me. Feels disgusting.
Let's move on to go ahead.
I was just going to say, where are they restoring the Roar from like the 50s? Because I can't think of Detroit being relevant since then.
Well, that's why they brought back that old '50s logo. But they did make the NFC Championship game back in '91.
They had Wayne Fonts.
I
Wayne
think.
Fonts.
Yep, I think they played the Redskins back in '91. And that was the only time that Barry Sanders made the playoffs, I think.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, it's been a minute. Okay, well, you say Jesus Christ, but that's only 4 years later than the Cowboys last won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, like, what are we, like, 91 and 95 ain't that far apart.
Let's move on to the Packers here. Junebug, what do you think the Packers are going to do this year?
Packers. Okay, the Packers. All right. So, I mean, they're going to have to start over, right? I mean, who loses a Hall of Famer then has a good season the next year, besides the 49ers. You know what I mean? The 49ers, that's it. But other than that, I mean, I got them at 6-11. That's where I got the Packers at. I got them at 6-11. Jordan Love is too much of an unknown. They still didn't fix their offensive line problems. They still don't have a running back. They still don't have receivers. They still have a lot of problems that they didn't fix. You think getting rid of Aaron Rodgers, you think they would be able to bring in some players. They'd be able to bring in those free agents. They didn't do anything. And I'm afraid for this kid, Jordan Love, because I don't know if he's going to make it the entire season behind that offensive line. I really don't. I mean, I just don't. The first six games of the season, I don't see any wins at all. You got the Bears. They're at the Bears, at the Falcons. The Saints are going to beat them. They got the Lions. They got to go to the Raiders.
I'm losing
Broncos. Yeah. and then they got the Vikings. I just don't see any wins in the first six to seven games. It just that's why I got them going 6-11. I think the second half of their season will be a little bit better. But other than that, I think this is going to be a very rough season for the Green Bay Packers. And they may be looking for that number one pick next year. They may be trying to get into the Caleb Smith lottery.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb Williams lottery. Or Drake May, because Drake may come out too from North Carolina.
Michael Penix.
No.
Penix.
Michael Penix. Come on, Washington. 11-2 last year. Oh, come on, man. Oh, man.
The Utah quarterback. The Utah quarterback, yes.
Jumbo just did me dirty there. He didn't even give me a full no. He just did it with his eyes. He just.
Sometimes you gotta say.
Like a little
Yeah, nah, he's been into too much. Nah.
Ow.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I said too much about the Cowboys.
I'm sorry. But
so you said 6-11 for Green Bay, huh?
6-11. 6-11.
All right. G Money.
Yep.
I got him going 4-13.
Oh man.
And for some of the same reasons, right? The O-line wasn't good last year. It's not going to be good this year. The defense is suspect. They do have running backs. They've got A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. But they're going to be running, once again, behind a suspect line. I actually have them starting off first 5 weeks of the season going 3-2, which, of course, will get Packer Nation all excited, thinking, we didn't need Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love is the greatest thing. We're going to look at like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. We're going to the Super Bowl. That's how it rolls with us in Packer Nation, right? And the cheesehead. But then after the bye week, yeah, good luck. The next win they have is Week 15 versus Tampa.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah. And they could well be, except for when we get to the NFC West and we start talking about what a shit show Arizona is. they would probably have the number one pick.
Can't wait for next week's episode. Okay. I gotta be honest. I need Nestor to come back
I know.
because he overshoots everything.
He did send me his picks. I just asked him, and he texted me what he's got.
Well, what is his pick for Green Bay?
For Green Bay, he's got them at 7 and 10.
Okay, God damn it. Okay, so I'm going 8-9. I'm going 8-9. Now here's why I'm going 8-9. Okay, I do remember when Aaron Rodgers took over for Green Bay, and I think they went 6-10 that year. But that team had no offense side of him, and I think Greg Jennings. I think that was it. I think Greg Jennings was the only wide receiver worth noting, and that defense was god awful even when they won the Super Bowl back in 2010. And they got steamrolled by the Vikings because Brett Favre said "fuck you" 2 times. But I am. It's not that I'm a believer in Derek Love, but I do think that he can be better than advertised because he hasn't been able to be advertised yet. At least when you're talking about someone like in San Francisco, like Trey Lance, we got at least several games of a body of work to realize this guy was not worth 3 first-round picks. With Jordan Love, we just don't know. And like G Money said, we still got Aaron Jones. It is a weak division right now. That's why I think I had Minnesota and Detroit going a little bit higher. But I mean, I have them beating the Bears, I have them beating the Falcons, and I even have them beating the Saints in week 3 because I'm not a believer in the Saints. Michael Thomas is going to stub a toe. Alvin Kamara is still going to be out. You got Derek Carr with all his muscles that he likes to show off in training camp because he's the only person I know that likes to hike up his shirt like this in training camp. I don't know why he does it. Carr, you're white. Stop it. White people don't have shoulder muscles, man. Stop it. I got him losing to the Lions, but I got him beating the Raiders. So I got him actually going 4-1 in the first 5 weeks. Because I just think there are winnable games in that scenario for that team. Now they don't win a whole lot of games after that. But I do think they're going to start hot, somewhat like G Money thinks they're going to start hot. But I do think that Matt LaFleur's offense is an offensive mind. When you don't have a quarterback that's trying to sabotage everything you're doing and trying to win an MVP, I just think that there's going to be a breath of fresh air. That organization a little bit. Winning record, no, but they is capable of outside of somebody that's trying to take their knees out from them from the get go, which is what I believe Aaron Rodgers is always trying to do. And so I don't know. I think he's going to be a little bit of a better than average quarterback this year in the NFC. And so I got him winning 8 games. I feel I'm normally not this optimistic. I'm normally the pessimist.
You are, yeah.
I'm really weird about my picks right now.
It's that quarter
Get
bottle.
me in defense mode. Jesus.
I've got them going 7-10. I'm with Nestor here. I've got them. I don't quite have them on that. The first half of their season, like Junebug has them only winning 1 game before Halloween, but I think they'll win 2. I think they'll beat Atlanta and New Orleans. So there's that. But after the bye,
think they'll beat the Bears?
No, I think the Bears win that one at home, man. Mainly because Jordan Love, I think he's just a huge question mark, and very similar to Trey Lance, where it's just kind of like I don't know what to think, good or bad. But I think that week 1 is going to be a lot of.
Okay, we got more film on Justin Fields than we do even Trey Lance, and we've already talked about how dumb Justin Fields is, thinking he's already a top 5 all-time running quarterback in the NFL. He's already got CTE. He's only going into his 3rd year.
Well, we're about to get to him next, so yeah, I think Jay Fields will get the win that game week 1. The Bears will, but second half of the season, I think their wins will come from Minnesota, LA. I actually have them beating the Steelers on the road, and against Tampa. I think that's about it. Yeah, they'll beat both LA teams. But anyway, yeah, I think they'll have a solid year. 7-10 is not awful, but I think by the end of the year we should know a bit more about Jordan Love and be able to kind of see, all right, do the Packers actually have an answer there or not? Because if they're around that 500 mark, they can start having a conversation on what they want to do with him. But yeah, this is the season of Jordan Love with the Packers. Do they have their answer or not?
Real quick, let's go around the table, the 4 of us. Are the Packers drafting a quarterback in the 1st round next year? Go.
One word answer.
Yeah,
yes.
no, I
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Not if they fall out of the top 10. And really, right now, when you look at it, high likelihood that Arizona drafts a quarterback, and they trade Kyle. They trade him. They get rid of him. So and who knows? It depends on how Jordan Love does. If Jordan Love actually plays fairly well, given the O-line that he has and everything, no, they're not going to draft a quarterback. They'll probably draft an O-lineman.
Is this Jordan's Love 3rd year or 4th year in the league?
I think 3rd.
4th year, right?
I think it was 2020.
I think it's his 4th. I think it's his 4th because Aaron Rodgers won 2 MVPs.
This will be his 4th year.
Yeah. Right, 4th.
So they're going to have to. They could still pick up his 5th year option, but the Packers have basically 1 year to decide whether or not they're going to want to pay this kid $35-something, $40-something million off of 1 year. Whew. Man, I would not want to be that GM. Crazy.
Yeah. My one word was just yes. I think they'll pull the trigger on that one. Nestor has been in the chat here. I just wasn't looking, but he was saying Malin 8 and 9 is wild I'm assuming for the Packers, but
wait, didn't he say 7?
He said 7 and 10, which is too funny.
Okay, first of all, if
I said 8 and 9 is like an insane projection.
I think he's just messing with you.
This man's been married 4 weeks, and already we need to figure out if he's alive and well.
It's like, dude, man, put down the mushrooms.
Yes.
All right, let's round things out with the Bears. Junebug. What do you have the Chicago Bears doing?
The Bears, there's a lot of hype around them. It's a lot of hype, but is that going to lead to wins? You don't know. I got the Bears going 8 and 9. That's where I got the Bears at. I got the Bears winning their first 2 games. They're going to play the Packers, and then they're going to play the Buccaneers. But then after that, I got them losing the next 6. You look at the first 2 games, they're going to come out hot, but they got to play the Chiefs. I don't think they can beat the Broncos even at home. The Commanders' defense is going to be good enough to stop Justin Fields. They're going to lose to the Vikings. They're going to lose to the Raiders. Then they got the Chargers and the Saints. I just think those teams are just better than what the Bears are right now. I don't think the Commanders are actually better. I just think that the Commanders' defense is better, and they may frustrate Justin Fields enough to make too many mistakes in that game. So that's why I think the Commanders will win that game. But after that, I think they'll go probably every other game after that and end up with 8 wins. So you got a good 8-9 season for them. I think that's where they are. I think they were 6-11. So that's 2 more wins they had last year.
Yeah.
I think that's a good number for them. So
G Money.
I got him going 7-10. I'm still not sold on Fields as a quarterback, and I'm not sold on the coaching staff getting him to be a quarterback. Why do I see Justin Fields and think of poor man's Lamar Jackson? It just bothers me. I have him beating the Packers and beating the Vikings. But, and neither of those are quality wins when you really think about it. But they lose to the Buccaneers. They lose to the Chiefs, which would make sense because Chiefs have a decent defense, and their offense you're not going to be able to stop. Broncos had a top 10 defense. The Commanders, as Junebug said, their defense is solid. I mean, when you play teams that have solid defenses that can stop, that know that Justin Fields is not going to throw the ball, or if he is, it's going to be sort of like Michael Vick-ish, one read and then run. They'll stop that. And most defenses that he's going to play are good enough to take away his first read and stop him from really running for 100, 150, 200 yards.
All right.
Well, okay. So I guess this is where the pessimism in me comes in. Because I don't believe in Justin Fields at all. I think I could wipe my ass with some toilet paper, put a bear tongue on it, and it could probably play a better quarterback than what Justin Fields has done so far as a Bear. Under 60% completion percentage in today's NFL. I don't care that you ran for over 1,000 yards last year. Run your quarterbacks and run over 1,000 yards if they can't throw the ball, which he cannot throw the ball. Like, it'd be impressive if you ran for 1,100 yards last year if you threw the ball for like 3,500 yards. No, 2,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. An average of only 7 yards per completion. We can't even push the ball down the field. Okay? I'm just not a believer in what he can do in whatever offense they're running. Now, it might not be... Maybe it's the wrong coaching staff. I don't know. Name me another Ohio State quarterback that has done anything in the NFL. I can't think of one. So to think that Justin Fields is going to be the one to do it, I think we're just being too nice because he wears the same number as Hurts, and we think he's going to be the next Hurts because he was rocky his first year or so. But when you look through the rest of Khalil Herbert, running back. I didn't even know Khalil Herbert existed as a human being until I just looked up the depth chart, people. DJ Moore is not bad as a wide receiver. Chase Claypool is obviously your number one target there. The offensive line is not great. He's going to be running for his life. And there's just, the defense is not what you want out of a Bears defense. You don't have that leader, whether it's anyone in the defense backfield. I mean, they have a history of great middle linebackers. You don't even have great middle linebacker. Right? This is not the next Brian Urlacher. We're going to be on the hunt for a new quarterback after this next year, and maybe Justin Fields gets another opportunity. But if Kyler Murray is putting up better stats in the NFL than Justin Fields, and we all know what I think about Kyler Murray. I mean, stop it. 5 wins. So I'm feeling really good about my 5 wins because you guys are saying like 7 and 8 wins. I don't even want to know what Nestor is saying. What is Nestor saying? The little witness protection ass.
Nestor's on the 7 and 10. I'm gonna say 8 and 9.
Yes.
I'm with Junebug here at 8 and 9. I think kind of similar to Jordan Love. This is another kind of prove it year for Justin Fields because they've got him some solid weapons. Like running back again, I couldn't have named up until you just said. Actually, I still can't name any running backs. I don't remember the guy's name that you just said.
Yeah, I don't.
But wide receiver wise, they did get Claypool last year. They got DJ Moore now. They still have Mooney there, so he's got some weapons. I think he's got enough to actually be a around 500 quarterback. Besides that, though, it's just kind of like I don't know. We'll see. Justin Fields, the verdict is still out, but he is a top 10 fantasy quarterback. I will say that. So if you're looking for a fantasy QB.
If you're looking to lose in fantasy, go ahead and draft Fields. Go ahead, Nestor. I would just like to point out that Nestor thinks I'm overreaching about the Packers, yet he's got the Bears winning 7 games and the Packers winning 7 games. Damn it, Nestor. He's just mad that every AFC East team is picking up running backs and he ain't got shit. That's what he's mad about.
He's got 3 used San Francisco running back, right? He's got Mozart. He's got Justin Wilson, and whoever sat on the bench for the 49ers 3 years ago as his backup running back.
Well,
fun times.
That will do it for our NFC North predictions. We're getting there, gentlemen, but I think we're just down to the West at this point, and then we'll be knocking on the door for the season to start. So,
which is crazy.
Yes. So let's get into the news for folks at home.
Today's top stories and
my
breaking
computer
news.
might just lift off here in the middle of the show, and if that happens, it is what it is. All right, so let's start off with if I can just bring this up. Come on. All right. Yes, so like you were mentioning, Malin, the running backs coming into the AFC East. Welcome Ezekiel Elliott to my New England Patriots on a 1-year deal worth up to $6 million with incentives. I think the base is around $3 million. Yeah, we get Zeke. The Jets did get Dalvin Cook. I'm just going to kind of mash these two stories together. Dalvin Cook 1 year, $8.6 million to the Jets. What'd you guys think of this when you first saw these two stories come up? Because they were around the same time.
Well, yeah, I felt that Zeke going to the Patriots, they're not going to expect him to be Zeke from the Cowboys of 2-3 years ago. They're probably going to have a 400 to 600 yard expectation from him, and using him with Stevenson, you guys should get about probably 1,700 rushing yards between the two, as long as they stay healthy. And he'll work better closer to the goal line as you're trying to get that first down or touchdown. Dalvin Cook going to the Jets, that makes sense too. He's good at catching the ball out of the backfield. He's quick. He's not going to replace Bryce Hall, though I'm not quite sure how healthy he is coming back from his injury. So, yeah, it gives Aaron Rodgers another weapon. And yeah, it's not like the Jets need another weapon, but they've got one.
I think, okay, so talking about the Jets first. Bringing in Dalvin Cook. I think that this might be, I'm not trying to do a hot take here. I'm just saying, bringing in Dalvin Cook, if Nathaniel Hackett is not as dumbass of an offensive coordinator as he was a head coach, he was with the Broncos. I actually think this probably makes the Jets a front runner to win the East, even after we've already made our predictions. Because I think that this offense is more talented than Buffalo's offense right now. Buffalo doesn't really have a running game. They don't have a whole lot outside of Diggs right now. It's Josh Allen and Diggs are bust with Buffalo. And with New York, you got Aaron Rodgers. Now he is old. He's old as shit. Okay. But does he have another year in him? A fresh year? I really do think he does. I think he could have like a renaissance like Brett Favre did in Minnesota. I mean, hell, even when Brett Favre was with the Jets, they had an 8-2 record until he got hurt. And he messed up his pectoral muscle in the throwing arm, and they ended up losing like the last 6 games or something, missing the playoffs. But I mean, you're going Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, then you got a bunch of Green Bay throwaways at wide receiver. I get that. Then you got because Bryce Hall was tearing it up last year before he got hurt, and he was the only reason why that offense was putting up points and why they were 6-2 before he went down, because it damn sure was not the Great White Hype or Zach Wilson putting the Jets into winning position. It was all Bryce Hall. And so you got those two running backs. That defense with the Jets is great. So I really do think that is a great $8 million pickup. When it comes to Zeke, Jalen, got to ask, did you do the 3-day shipping or the normal 7-day shipping when you buy a jersey? It's going to hang up next to your Cam Newton jersey that you bought a few years back. I'm just kind of wondering if you've already bought it.
3-day.
Yeah, 3D. Yeah. If I was a Patriots fan, I would be excited over picking up Zeke because there's not a whole lot of else to be excited about. Patriots fan. Belichick's been a 500 coach since he lost Tom Brady. He has not been drafting well. But if Zeke can be in one of those, I got to prove it that I belong in the NFL and try to get one more contract, maybe he can shock the world a little bit. I mean, he had all the talent in the world, and maybe the Cowboys and Ohio State ran him into the ground and he doesn't have anything left. That's probably about 70% the probability. But if he can pull a rabbit out of the hat and put together a really good year to try to get a contract someplace else, I think that he could be really good, and I think that the Patriots should get a Salvation Army bucket in the back of each end zone to entice his ass to run into the goal line. Because I want to see Zeke jump in to that big-ass red bucket at least one more goddamn time in my life, because that's great.
I could see that bucket in our end zones. Come on, Robert Kraft, make it happen. Junebug, what'd you think about your old guy showing up in New England?
I mean, Miami or New England. I know there was a lot of talk of him coming back to Dallas, but I don't think that talk was ever real. Even with Jones getting in, with the 2-game suspension, possibly getting cut, I still didn't think Zeke was coming back. But the Patriots make sense. It makes sense to go to the Patriots. Use him like we were using him. I think Belichick will use him in short yard situations, and he'll use them sparingly, because I think if Belichick, I don't believe New England's going to make a deep. They're going to make a playoff run, but if they're close, they're within a few games late in December. That's when Belichick will really use Zeke and say, we're going to pound the ball in this code. Need Zeke out there. So I think the first part of the season, they're going to use him sparingly, but get close to making the playoffs, that's when you'll see Zeke in. Let me tell you the stuff that I loved about Zeke. He can catch the ball out the backfield. and he still could, even with him slowing down, he could still catch the ball at the backfield and get those positive yards. And there was a couple of times this past season that we saw like glimpses of what he was in 2017. You can get some of that Zeke throughout the season. I think it'll help the Patriots out for what they want to do. So,
And I think that Bill Belichick is the type of coach that if Zeke can adhere to the Patriot way, that Belichick does have a little bit of a track record of resurrecting careers. Okay, he always gets rid of people a year or two early, but he's always able to get people on the back end of that career when people think they're done, like a Marvin Harrison, a Junior Seau, or Randy Moss, people like that, and get a little bit more out of him. He will get every ounce of what Zeke has left and damn near kill the man if it means he can get close to the playoffs. So I do think he'll do that. Like if they end up like 4-2 or 5-3 and Zeke's healthy, you're gonna see some heavy doses of Zeke until the wheels fall off. Like he'll get every ounce of Zeke that he can. He don't give a shit about what Zeke wants to do after this year.
Right. I think that's right. Now going to Dalvin Cook, I like it. I thought Miami was going to get Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
I thought that's where he was going. I thought Miami had put their hat. I was like, he going to the Jets, but I mean, it makes sense though. It makes sense. But I think that the Jets still got an offensive line problem. The offensive line, they was talking about it. They were just talking about it on the TV today. They still have, they still got that the offensive line is still a problem for them. So yeah, you got these two running backs, but can your offensive line block? So that's what we got. And Aaron Rodgers is not moving like Aaron Rodgers used to. So they're gonna have to move the entire pocket, not just not Aaron Rodgers try to move around the pocket. You want some long pass plays? Can shift with Aaron Rodgers, because if they don't, he's going to be standing back there like a statue and get popped a couple of times, and we may not see Aaron Rodgers for the entire season. So I hope Dalvin Cook can come in. I hope Dalvin Cook can, because I think this is this is one of those guys. For some reason, the league has these running backs right now are not getting they're being put on 1-year contracts. So we're going to see Dalvin Cook is on the audition. So I think Dalvin Cook is going to go out there and give it his all. Not to be even looking to stay with the Jets long term, but I think this year he's going to go out there and you're going to see a Dalvin Cook you haven't seen before. So
yeah, I agree with you about Aaron Rodgers. I think, I don't know about you guys, but Aaron Rodgers in the Jets uniform looks like he's homeless fighting AIDS. Like, I don't know why he looks as frail and skinny as he does. But he looks really skinny and frail in that Jets uniform. I don't know if it's just weird with the shot value seeing him with the Jets. But I think what's really going to be the biggest factor for the Jets is going to be Tyler Conklin, that tight end, because I really don't believe in Lazard and Randall Cobb and Corey Davis being those other wide receivers. I think like you said about the offensive line, and Rodgers is going to need some check down. And Conklin is not a top. I don't even think he's like a top 20 tight end in my book. But if anybody can make him useful, it might be somebody like Aaron Rodgers. So if he can dump it off to him, then that'd be good. But yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is fighting AIDS, people. I really think it is. Some STD from that clinic he was at in the dark. I don't think he was alone in there. Terrible.
I will say, as a Patriots fan, being the front runners for both Dalvin Cook and D Hop for like 2 weeks and ending up with Zeke was, when you put it in perspective, it's like
disappointing.
Right. But when this did happen,
we put it like that.
Right. When when the dust settled here, I was happy that we got Zeke. I'm like, all right, at least we didn't leave completely empty-handed. We did get a star player here, and I am in 110% agree with Junebug. It's gonna come down to just I think Zeke's health. As long as he stays healthy for the most of the season, I think Bill Belichick will make him work one way or another. And I think a lot of that will probably come in the second half of the year, closer to the playoffs, as it starts to get colder, and we're going to want to pound the ball a lot. First half of the year, we'll probably see more on the third downs and goal line situations. But once he, starts to get used to the system a bit more, and the weather gets colder, and we rely on him a bit more, I could totally see him being a big part of a playoff push for the Patriots, which I'm speaking into existence. He's going to be a big part of our offense. He's going to.
Yeah, I got one question for you here, Jalen. First of all, I do think that Nestor is in witness protection program because he did not want to talk about Dalvin Cook and Zeke Elliott, the Patriots and the Jets, because he's a Dolphins fan. So fuck him for hiding out on this episode. So okay, I'm going to give you two names. You cannot pick the middle. You have to say he's either going to be more like one or the other.
Okay.
This year. Okay. Two great wide receivers that the Patriots picked up. Okay, when everyone thought they were washed up. One performed, one didn't. I want you to tell me which one do you think Zeke is going to be more like? Randy Moss or Chad Johnson?
I'm going Randy Moss.
You can't say in the middle.
Yeah, I'm saying Moss.
Oh, right. That's the opposite. That's because you bought the jersey. That's
if he gives us half of what Randy Moss gave, man, I will be overjoyed. But on the other side of this,
middle, and he says, if he gives me half of what Randy Moss did, then Randy Moss would win half.
On the other side of things, Dalvin Cook going to New York, the Jets are really starting to remind me of Tampa when Tom Brady first got there, where it's like Aaron Rodgers starting to recruit some of his guys from Green Bay, and now getting Dalvin Cook. It just reminds me of like getting Gronk, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, and they're stacking up a team now. They've got some real talented guys. They do need to get that O-line figured out. That is the glue, and that was very apparent on this most recent episode of Hard Knocks. But assuming that the O-line does kind of get it together, I think they could make a lot of noise this year. I'm not going to say Super Bowl, but a lot of noise. But don't be surprised if they look kind of shaky the first half of the year, the same way that Tampa looked shaky the first half of their Super Bowl year. They'll need some time to figure it out, but they've got the talent. That's definitely not the problem, is the talent.
I still think Nathaniel Hackett is
they're
going to live and die by Nathaniel Hackett, man.
I think he'll be better as an OC than he ever was as a head coach. I really do.
God, I hope so. It was terrible as a head coach. But, I mean, if he can.
Well, yeah.
If
he wasn't ready to be a head coach. I mean, you go from being a quarterback coach to a head coach. Nah, that was the wrong move. That didn't serve him at all.
If he can call plays and he can put together a great offensive game plan, I think the Jets can go someplace. Now, so far in their scrimmages, Aaron Rodgers even says he's been a little bit frustrated.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But if the offensive play calling is up to par, I think they got a lot of talent.
Yes. So with that, we'll wrap up the first half of the show. In the second half, we're coming back with community comments and then what's up with that. So we will see you guys in about 10 minutes.
After further review will be starting in 5 minutes. Use this time to grab a drink so you can enjoy the show to the fullest. We hope you enjoy the podcast.
Sometimes art is prophetic, and sometimes I don't know how to offset it. The words too authentic to constantly do what I do and augment it. Y'all talk a big game, can't tell if y'all meant it. If seconds turns to minutes, the ticking will tell all. Will you hold firm or steadily fall? Will you conform with the ways of the world, or will you give the world everything that you are? Make them fuckers move around you, kinda like sound do. Break out of everything that they had you bound to. You got knocked down, ho, get ready for round two. It's round two. Get ready for round two. Come back, run rap, run laps around these cats, jump back, kiss myself, still keeping me intact. Weird and black, they for that, hold up, steer it back. Weird and black, they revere that. Yup, you hear that?
Turnstile, switch it up. Young nigga raised hard, you learn not to give a fuck. Young nigga came far, still never give enough. Coming with the flavor, delicious, so she lick it up. Bust down, stick it up, I put it down, so pick it up. Scud town, saviors, done some till he shift to musk. Stench so stank that the shit compare soft to us. Crud so dank, make your face smell you dripping, cuz club go shake when the bass gets to hitting ya. They ain't really hearing us, but they gon' feel something when the way is paved clear enough. I don't fear nothing but the fate, is God really not? Well, fuck it, got the world in my hands, and that's real enough. Fuck it, got the world in my hands, gold forms to touch. Might just spend it all one time to give it all to us. Yeah, give it all to us.
Yeah. This that hip-hop body, rock, hardcore, karate, chop, neo-Nazi, nasty, not feel it in my chest. How could you wear that name? Must be automatic shame, he's an automatic lame, heard it from the best. Fresh flow, let's go, plus I got a lot of heart. It's necessary when you dabble in this art. Grab canvas, paint picture, use them acrylics, paint a picture so vivid, the people gotta feel it like the kava. Lyrics bear fruit like guava, words spilling out of my brain like lava. Spills out the top of a volcano, and they know that A-Right is not the one to play no. I'm Kano in Mortal Kombat, cause the lyrics like blades. Aim it at your jugular when I'm on stage. Until you heard me spit, homie, you ain't heard rage. On another chapter, so turn a turn. Okay, got that out my system. A-Right on another planet, dog, you must have missed them. When I do it, how I do it's of my own volition. Go make my destination even in the worst condition. My crew's the Blues Brothers, cause you know we on a mission. Eternity of roses I make bumping in your system. I mean, banging it, and I'm still hanging it. And I got a gang of wisdom, I got a gang of rhythms. I got a lot of soul, I found the pot of gold. I'm wrapping that shit up, gon' sell it to the globe. I got some game to give them, they don't really want, but they really need it. And I want you to succeed, I want you to be free. I want you to remove every obstacle from being what you truly wanna be. I truly wanna see, and I can only lead by example. So here's a sample from me, so get up.
And we are back, folks. Welcome back to your favorite show on the internet for the second half. How we feeling, gentlemen? We all right for round two?
We're good. I'm good.
We're taking our second half shot here.
All right. So, Jalen, what are you sipping on?
This is some Angel's Envy that Shaq gave me a while ago.
It had been a while ago. We ain't seen him in a long time. What about you, Jimbo? What are you sipping on?
Feeling.
Okay. All right. Well, what about you, G Money?
I got stirred up a hazy IPA from Everybody's Brewing, White Salmon, Washington. You know,
Nice.
White
keeping
salmon.
it local.
There you go.
That is the most Washington
Listen, I don't care
thing.
what anybody says. First of all, Washington invented a craft brewery.
They did,
All right.
yes.
They did. The craft everything.
Yeah.
It's Washington. So
White salmon.
all right. Well, let's
Try
talk
that.
about what dumbass comments.
Yes.
said.
Everybody's favorite segment of this show. Community comments. This is where we get into what you guys have had to say about what we've been saying this past week. So let's start. Where should I start here? We're going to go with who's going to lead the NFL in reception yards this year. This is the question that Nestor put out there. Sorry, let me just try and find this. This is coming from YouTube. Somebody I know for sure said, Matt B said CeeDee Lamb. Matt B must be in Dallas. It's the only explanation there.
Is that you, Junebug? Is that a secondary account?
It's alter ego.
No.
Somebody else said Brandon Ayuk. I just cannot find his actual name. Those are the only two inputs, was CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk for that one. People.
Okay. Interesting.
Do you guys have any front runners?
I'm going to go out of the box, and I'm going to say a guy who's going to benefit having Calvin Ridley on his team, and that's Christian Kirk. I think Christian Kirk is going to benefit from that, and he's going to sneak in there and lead the league in receiving yards this year. So that may be a good pickup in your fantasy league is Christian Kirk.
Man, I thought Ayuk was crazy there, Junebug.
Going outside the box. That's outside the box.
It definitely is.
Well, I mean, when it comes to leading the NFL in receiving yards, I'm not going to go outside the box. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson. Because if Kirk is good at anything, it's putting up numbers.
Yes.
And Justin Jefferson is one of the best in the league. I would love to go with because I love me some Jamar Chase. My mama knows that. I might be wearing silver and gold, and that's not LSU like my mama wants me to be. But with the fact that Burrow is kind of coming into the season a little bit banged up, and you got Higgins on the other side that's going to steal catches and yards, I think Kirk is. I think he's pretty much married to Justin Jefferson at this point. I think his ride or die. I think he's going to be. I mean, because you could go, Waddle or Hill also, but they're going to be stealing yards, and you don't even know who's going to be throwing them the ball. So I mean, like, I just think the smart money. If you're going to Vegas, I think Justin Jefferson has to be in the top 3, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going with his, like you just said. I'm going with Jamar Chase. I think that the LSU duo is going to be the best this year. Yeah, let your mom know that that's where I stand. G Money.
Yeah, I got to go with Justin Jefferson. I would think Jamar. I mean, my dark horse, and of course I am a homer, would be DK Metcalf. Let's not forget that Geno Smith put almost 70% of his completed 70% of his passes last year. I think it was like 69.8. I mean, he came really close to hitting 70%. And you've got Tyler Lockett, and now with Jackson Smith Enigma. I mean, just seeing that kid in practice. I don't know who you're going to think you're going to double with the Seahawks. And the O-line is a whole hell of a lot better than it was last year. But,
yeah.
Just looking at everything, I would go Justin Jefferson and my dark horse being DK. Because I can see DK getting open because Justin clearing out the middle. You've got Tyler Lockett on the left side, basically. And you got to pick your poison. I mean, it's almost like when the Rams were really tough. You know, you pick your poison, or when you've got a star quarterback and you've got two really good receivers and a good tight end, you pick your poison. Who are you going to double? Who are you going to leave one-on-one?
Yeah, I could be a homer and say Metcalf too. Personally, I think with Lockett and Smith, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the rest of his name, but I think he's going to be really great too. No, I'm just not. I see his name, I hear people say it, and then I try to say it, and I keep fucking it up. And I'm getting really angry right now because the Mariners and the bottom is with the worst American League team in fucking baseball. This pissed me off. The only other player that I would maybe even think of would be Williams with Tampa. Godwin's coming back from an injury, and he's going to be really like the only target they have. And I think he's good enough, like Jefferson, to beat double teams. So I try to shy away from people that are going to get catches and yards stolen from great number twos that could be number ones, like a Higgins or a Lockett or somebody like that. But my God, if these Mariners don't close this game out, Jalen, better have a drop button because I'm going to be saying some. I'm going to get real angry real quick. They don't close this game out. Oh, damn it.
Let's move on to the next video here. We only have a couple comments on each video, but the next one. So I asked who is going to be your dark horse team in the NFC this year, and my team was the Lions. I planted my flag and said I think that the Lions are going to be, kind of the surprise team there. Where is okay? Nestor also agreed with me. He said Detroit. Landon said the Panthers. Big CJ Stroud fan there. Bryce Young there. I always get them mixed up. Bryce Young fan there. G says Saints for sure. If Michael Thomas is healthy, they could make a playoff run. Did not expect to see NFC South teams anywhere in that, but there they are. Yeah.
I mean, but when I go dark horse, to me, the Lions have a lot of hype. So they're not a team that I'm expecting, like, everyone's expecting them to do good. I think a team in the NFC that's going to do well that no one is thinking about is the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to win a ton of games in the NFC South. And I actually have them going 9-8 and winning the division. And so to me, like, that's my dark horse because, like I said, the Lions, like people are expecting them to be good. So a team that's kind of going to surprise some people would with more wins than maybe they should. I probably got to go with Carolina, but I mean, if Detroit doesn't win, expects Carolina to pull out a winning record, and I haven't won in 9 games, so they'll probably make me look stupid. But you know, whatever it is.
Jumbo, you have a dark horse in the NFC? Oh, your mic switched over. Oh, there you go.
Nope.
Oh,
You're good. You're good.
We got him. We
You're good.
got him.
Okay. I think
That's the game.
a dark horse that a team that's going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to make a run in the playoffs that nobody's going to see coming, would be Seattle. Seattle's going to make a run in the playoffs from the 7th seed that nobody, or I'm sorry, the 6th seed that nobody's going to see coming.
Man,
And
I mean, Bug, I know you're married, but I would kiss you on the lips right now. I would.
Saying that, I think that's after last season. Hey, shout out to Geno Smith, man. He made me a believer. Geno made me a believer after last year.
What's it? He didn't write back, or he
June
did
Buck-
write back? I don't forget how it goes.
I don't think he's written back yet. I think he's still waiting to write back all the haters. And before G Money goes, the Mariners did win 6-5. We beat.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Nice.
They
So
make
go ahead,
these games
buddy.
harder than they need to be.
Yes, we do.
I don't think never.
But you're dark horse, G Money.
Yeah, what's your dark horse?
Mine is Carolina too. I just think now it does concern me that Miles Sanders is out until probably week 1. But I think they're a young team. I think Frank Reich can take Bryce Young like he did Carson Wentz. If you all remember, Carson Wentz was really good till he got injured in that Rams game, and then from that point on, but he was never the same. But even after that, took Nick Foles. Nick Foles, who was he? But he won a Super Bowl with him. I think he can do that. I think they will be a surprise team in the NFC. Because everybody looks. You look at the Giants, even the Redskins, because Redskins have a solid defense. When you look at the North, you're looking at Detroit. Detroit isn't a surprise team because they won last year. So if they win and go in the playoffs this year, that's not a surprise. That's an expectation. Minnesota was in the playoffs last year. Once again, not a surprise. That's an expectation. If you look at the South, where the South is, except for Carolina, when you look at the South, it's kind of jumbled. So that's why Carolina. I think Carolina can do it. I think Carolina will be your surprise. And in the West, my opinion is going to be between the 49ers and the Seahawks. Arizona's a dumpster fire. It's always been a dumpster fire. That's never going to change. The ownership are basically cheap freaking people that don't know football. And the Rams, we don't know. We don't know how well Matthew Stafford is going to be with his elbow. And let's face it. I mean, half their defense is no longer there. So you've got Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp. That's their offense. And the defense is Aaron Donaldson.
Talk about the NFC West at some point, man.
Yeah. I just got started. Wait a minute. One more thing. One more thing.
Okay, one more thing.
That's okay. I'm good. Carolina is my dark horse for the NFC.
Go. Thank you for keeping it PC on the Cardinals ownership, because
Well, I mean, they can change the jersey, but still got the same dumb helmet. So.
Before we hit the last video here, shout out to the couple folks here in the live chat for watching us this week. So I asked, who's going to win the NFC North, and the folks on TikTok said Tom something or other. I'm not going to pronounce that. Lions was his pick. Joey Marini says, not a bad take. Honestly, I just wanted to see the Lions make the playoffs at the very least. Jeff Vance, Lions comfortably. Vikings 13-4 with negative point deficit on season is wild. Huge fluke. All right. Austin says Bears. And this person's name is just No. I don't know how he got that. But anyway, Vikings offense got better and defense just had aging players and a terrible defensive coordinator. With Brian Flores, they won't be top 10 defense, but they'll be good. Well, there's that.
You know what, Jalen? Is that if the Lions do not make the playoffs, I think the other 49 states are going to be like, you know what, just drop a nuke. Like, we're not making cars in Detroit anymore. They're of no use to the rest of the country. We still don't have good water in Flint, Michigan. We never are going to have good water in Flint, Michigan. So we might as well just nuke Michigan. Because they will have pulled over the greatest heist of making people believe this Lions team can actually fucking be something.
False.
So if they end up wetting the bed, like, you know what? Just Biden, hit the button. You might be thinking you're calling your mom, but hit the button.
I don't know we want him doing that. It might end up in another city, and God knows what'll happen then. But
still will more than likely be a city that I'm in agreement with. Hit the button, Biden. Do it for us all. Don't fall down any more stairs in Air Force One. Don't mess up that trigger finger, buddy. You might need it if the Lions fuck around and find out.
So that's what we're banking on, folks. We're banking on the Lions or Biden getting it together. So that's where we are. Anyway, that's community comments for this week. Gotta love the community. Hope they come out a bit more next week. We'll see what happens, but
yeah,
where are we as a country with record inflation, and we're believing that the Lions are going to do something? Like, what are we doing?
And Hawaii's on fire. That's
Hawaii's on fire. You're thinking about taking more money away from people with Social Security. Like, this is bullshit, man. We are touching the third rail right now. Like, there's a reason why we don't care that aliens exist, because they don't care enough about us to actually do anything. So we're safe. Jesus
tell you
Lord.
what, those aliens are Lions fans. You know that.
Yeah, probably. Good Lord.
Let's move on to the last segment of the week. This is the one that you all come here for. What's up with that? What keeps us angry throughout a 7-day window? Does anybody have something that's just burning, something that was keeping them up last night that they would like to start us off with? If not, I will happily go first.
You want me to go first?
Oh, please do, sir. I can hear it in your voice.
I don't know what it is about one series in preseason that makes these franchises be like, you know what? Anderson and Young, starting quarterback, right out the gate. Didn't do a goddamn thing in preseason. When the Houston Texans are showing restraint and not naming Stroud their starting quarterback yet, you gotta wonder what the hell is going on in Carolina, Indiana. Like, you're not even gonna challenge these people. You're just gonna give them reins. You know, the only person in the country right now that is hoping that one of these quarterbacks starts week 1 through 17, that's Peyton Manning, because he wants somebody to break that interception record that he has, and it's only going to happen if you start all 17 games. He's actually been on record saying he's upset about the fact that more rookie quarterbacks are not starting week 1. But I don't know, man. Like, you waited until after week 1 of preseason and then you name it. Like, you might as well have named it on draft day. Rookie mini camp, to start a training camp. Like, what did you see? Like, what did Indianapolis see from Anthony Richardson with that terrible interception throwing off his back foot, sailing the ball to the defender for an? What did they see out of him in the first period? You're like, week 1, man, you're playing. Like, just say it when you draft him. Or wait until after week 3. But these teams that have these rookie quarterbacks, and they're like, after week 1, they're like, oh, yep, that's our franchise. Like, shut up. You didn't see enough. You didn't see anything. Like, even Young didn't do much. I mean, if we're going off of week 1 in preseason, then Justin Fields is winning the MVP, going 3 for 3 with 129 yards and a touchdown. Okay, so just miss me with all this. We're naming these people. They were always going to be the starter. Just stop it. You guys are using headlines because the Jets are doing Hard Knocks. And everyone forgot you had a rookie quarterback, so you got to put him in the headlines by naming him the starter. It's ridiculous. Just whatever.
I agree. It just seemed kind of like a big charade, but yeah.
I don't even know why I'm that upset about it, but I am. It just pisses me off. Irrationally angry, but I guess that's my personality.
Let me go next here, just real quick. The fact that we're going up to DC here, the fact that over 100,000 people have signed a petition to change the Commanders' name back to the Redskins is just kind of wild to me. That this team, doesn't matter who the owner is, doesn't matter what the circumstances are, it just seems like they just can't seem to get it figured out. Apparently, this is like one of the most signed petitions in the history of change.org. I don't know what they're going to do. I highly doubt they end up changing the name again for a third time back to the original name. But just the circus of it all is just, what is going on here?
The owners did come out and say that they're probably going to change the name.
Good God.
Now, well, it's because they want to wipe anything from Dan Snyder out of, the ethos of anything in the NFL. And it's the most Dan Snyder thing ever to say you're never going to change the name from the Redskins and then have 2 other names before you sell the team. Because he's that fucking stupid. Like, in between sexually harassing people, he managed to have 2 names in 3 years. There's even a Native American council or something like that, like some chief out there. I can't tell you the name. I read it and I was just like, what? Like, everyone wanted them to drop the Redskins name. But now there's some Native Americans saying, nah, you need to change it back because that's part of our heritage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what do you mean that's part of your heritage? Like, we already lost the Cleveland Indians. We got to deal with the Cleveland Guardians for the rest of our fucking lives with that dumbass name. Like, they basically named them after a couple icons on a bridge. And then they should have just kept it to watch the football team. And then the Commanders, like, what are we doing? Like, first of all, I'm sorry that we showed up with guns and you had arrows and you lost. But what do you want us to do? Do you want us to keep the Redskins or do you not want us to keep the Redskins? But Florida State's okay because they're paying money, but we lost the Indians. Apparently, the Chicago, what were they? The
Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks, that's okay. Got a big ass Indian head on that sweater. I need to call it a sweater because if you call it a jersey, the NHL fan bases are gonna, they're gonna put their panties in a twist. And so just are we honoring Native Americans? Are we not? Is it offensive? Is it not? Dan Snyder, you're a fucking idiot. So now we got someone that paid $6.3 billion. Go ahead and fuck it up some more. Like, do whatever you got to do. Let's go ahead, instead of changing your jersey every 5 years, maybe they should just change their name every 5 years because they're obviously going through an identity crisis. They're never going to win another Super Bowl. So do what you got to do.
The thing
I don't even know who their
is,
fucking quarterback is right now.
with people getting upset over the name, there was a poll that was put out before they originally changed the name, and 90% of Native American people said they did not find Redskin offensive as the name of the team in the first place.
Like, all he's done is take the Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton, of all people, to a Super Bowl and lose. Other than that, mediocre head coach. So just what are we? A whole goddamn franchise.
Yeah.
If we just went to 31 teams, I wouldn't even give a shit. But they've won a few Super Bowls, so we got to keep them around as a laughing stock. But fuck that team.
Weird organization.
Skins, football team. But Jumbo's got something to say, but we lost his mic again. God damn it. That keeps happening. I don't know. It looked like he had something cool to say, though. Wait.
Go ahead, Jumbo.
Back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So being up here during this time period, it is crazy because everywhere you walk, everywhere you go in DC, everybody wants you to sign a petition to change the name back. So the other day I was walking around, I had on my Cowboys t-shirt, and the guy was like, will you sign the petition to change the name back to Redskins? I said, I really don't care what y'all name is. We're still going to beat you by 30.
Damn right. Damn right. And listen, I guarantee you one other thing. The Seahawks did not ruin Robert Griffin's career. They would still. We had to win some Super Bowl and stuff. If he never got hurt, they're probably still called the Redskins. No, I can't say that because Snyder was still sexually harassing people, and I think he was trying to do a PR stunt. He was like, "I'm grabbing ass over here, so we're going to change the name over here."
Old bait and switch.
So, but you're right. The Cowboys still going to beat him by 30. Everybody's going to beat him by 30. Like, what are we?
Where's Morgan Brown when you need him? Stand up for his team.
He can't even defend this nonsense. Who's there? Who's that defender they got, number 99, that keeps getting hurt? What's his name?
Chase
Young.
Chase Young. Chase Young. Yeah, you can't even keep.
Oh, they sold on him. They don't associate with him.
Yeah,
anymore.
he's gone.
I don't like him anymore.
Yeah, this is his last year. Yeah.
Yeah, you got zero alcohol. Heineke's gone. I mean, nothing.
Well,
franchise.
Junebug, do you have a what's up with that?
You know, this weekend I'm watching football. Easy. I don't know if you guys noticed it. Extra points, field goals. There were so many kicks being missed throughout this preseason. I'm like, what is going on with the kickers, man? I'm sitting here like, this is starting to get ridiculous. I know it's just a preseason, but on the kicks, I'm watching every preseason game. I think I watched, somebody missed 1 to 2 kicks, and I was like, I'm not happy with the kicking situation in the NFL. It's like, do we not have special team coaches anymore? Do these guys not practice? What's going on with the kickers right now?
Nobody wants to pay kickers anymore. Even though salary cap keeps going up, when you're paying that quarterback $45 million, you can get anybody. But, like you said, like, kickers are going wild. You can't even draft kickers anymore. They're
No,
great
pretty
in
much
college and
no.
they suck in the NFL.
Right. And then you go back to the days when the Patriots won those 3 Super Bowls. You think about they won those Super Bowls, and then getting to that one game in the snow in the AFC Championship game versus the Colts. Made what's his name? Uh, I can't remember his name right now. But he made that long kick in the snow against the Colts, and to get them there, we used to rely on kickers. We could
Yeah.
put the ball in the kicker's hand and they're going to win. Nowadays, the last couple of seasons, it's like kickers have been a real liability in the NFL.
I mean, outside of Justin Tuck, that's his name, right? Justin Tuck,
Mm-hmm.
the 66-yarder against the Lions a couple years ago. Oh my God! I mean, if the Lions were snake bit, Jesus Lord. I mean, the days of having the Vinatieri's and the Morton Andersons, those types that just kicked for decades. I mean, G Money, you probably got I'm missing it on a bunch of other kickers. They kicked for decades, but I remember the George Blandas also. But there were kickers that they would have careers for like 20 years in the NFL. And you don't have that anymore. Like, Janikowski may have been... Janikowski and Vinatieri and Justin Tuck may be like the last 3 that I can remember. Yeah, but, I mean, outside of that, it's like every team is rotating kickers. Like, every 2 to 3 years. You don't have franchise kickers anymore. It's weird. Even though the Patriots would not beat the Patriots without Vinatieri, but Jalen doesn't want to hear it.
I agree, absolutely. I will say, I don't mean to point fingers here, but Brett Maher was starting to set this up in the playoffs as of last year, when he was just going out there blindfolded, I guess. But I don't know. It just seems it wasn't just him, but because even as of last year, you were seeing more of that. But yeah, you're right. This preseason, there has been kind of like an influx and just botched kicks. I heard somebody say like there's more former soccer players that are now kickers in the NFL, but that's always kind of been the case anyway. So I don't really buy into that. I don't know what the hell the reason is, but you really hope that they get it figured out here in the next couple of weeks because it's about to start to count. So yeah.
I just think that when kickers get the yips these days, they don't have the opportunity to figure it out before an NFL team cuts them.
Yeah, they're gone.
Like they're like, you're gone. I mean, the Bucks drafted a kicker in the first round, out of Florida State, I think it was.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
And he didn't even last a year.
Yeah,
didn't even last a year. He was gone halfway through the year. And not the shit on the Bears or anything, but I right off the crossbar in the playoffs. I think it was a few years back. I mean, it just when you start missing a few kicks, you don't have the opportunity to make the rebound. So we don't have like career kickers like we used to have. I mean, maybe G Money can remember a couple that I don't, but I think outside of Janikowski, Vinatieri, and Justin Tuck right now, I don't think we have it in the NFL. I mean, I think the Seahawks have been lucky having Myers as our kicker for I think like 5 years now. He's got to be one of the longest tenured kickers.
Yeah.
But you're right. Kicking.
Because Robbie Gold doesn't even have a job right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's still sitting at home, and he kicked. How many years did he kick in San Francisco? At least 10, right?
Jeez.
Yeah, I think
He was there for a decade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Kickers suck. G Money, what's up with that? Here we go.
James Harden.
Oh, James Harden. We didn't even.
Oh yeah,
talk
we
about
forgot to
James
talk about him. We just kind of blew right by him on the news.
That's okay. We about to talk about it
There
now.
we go.
We have got to do it now. So James Harden goes to China, obviously doesn't understand the internet or communications or anything, and calls Daryl Morley the GM a liar. He's never going to play for him. He's not going to do this. He just lied straight out to him. Like, James, step the fuck back. Now, let's just stop for a moment. You had the opportunity because the 76ers did not pick up your option. You were a free agent. You picked up the player option. They don't have to trade you. Listen, quit acting like you're a prima donna. Quit acting like you're that 22-year-old girl that's got a smoking hot bod that everybody wants. You're 35, you put on 30 pounds, ain't nobody wants you. Maybe you're on Tinder for a quick hit it and freaking forget it. But that's about it. Yeah. Nobody out there wants you. And I don't care what your agent says. Your agent is your BFF. They're saying, oh, honey, work out. Watch those Jane Fonda tapes. Lose that weight. It ain't happening. You are a fat fuck and ain't nobody want you.
He's about to watch some Richard Simmons tapes and try to lose some weight. No, well, what he's going to do, he's going to put that fat suit back on like he did in Houston. You get traded to Brooklyn, he's going to put the fat suit back on because y'all remember he was fat as shit in Houston. Traded to Brooklyn. 14 days later, I was like, wait a minute, how'd you go from a 42 to a 32, sir? I don't understand how you did that.
I saw a comment said that James Harden is looking at his fat suit in the cupboard like Superman looks at his suit right now.
Yeah, right now, James Harden looks as athletic as I do. Like, he's got the big beard, right? Now, when he had the faux hawk, that could change things. When he started going to the heads, but he still got the big beard, but he started gaining that weight, he started getting those round cheeks like I have. I got these little golf ball cheeks right above my beard. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm making you feel self-conscious there. Yeah, he started grabbing his cheeks too. And Junebug was like, wait a minute, let's talk about teeth, man. But, I mean, come on. Like, if Harden trimmed his beard right now, that man would have 3 chins. Like, he needs to calm the fuck down. And, like G Money said, like, you could have been a free agent. Could have gone anywhere you wanted. But you picked up the player option.
Right.
You cannot pick up the player option and then say, I'm never going to play the franchise. Liar. Well, sir, your weight is a liar. Your weight scale is a liar. You're not as thin as you think you are. Like, calm the fuck down. Nobody wants you in Philly, just like you don't want to be there in Philly. But you picked up the player option. So eat you a Philly cheesesteak with that cheese whiz on it. Enjoy it. Ring the Liberty Bell and man the fuck up.
There's an NBA YouTuber that I watch who compared the NBA to General Hospital. It's like it's just one big soap opera at this point. Because
Jalen, so correct me if I'm wrong, but here's my take on this whole thing with James Harden, right? And this is just wild, and I love it because they all come from Oklahoma City, which stole my Sonic. And they can burn in hell. And they deserve to have a nuke dropped off on them. Timothy McVeigh bombed an Oklahoma City government building, and that was sad. A lot of people lost their lives, but that was telling about what should happen to the whole fucking city.
God.
Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, those 3, are they not the most unstable people in the NBA right now? Those 3 that lost to the Heat in the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden are the most cancer. Yes, 100%. Eating all the goddamn organs, all of it. They're eating more organs and then Harden can eat a cheesesteak. They are just the biggest prima donnas in the NBA, and they all come at like, how is it that those three come out of Oklahoma City, and here we are a decade later, and they're like, y'all crazy as shit.
Right.
Oh,
Absolutely.
God.
And if it wasn't for
reading
Golden
the writing on
State,
the wall.
none of them would have won a single championship.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
you guys can't read the writing on the wall that you're not who you used to be. And maybe it's because you were playing Oklahoma City and they got a poor ass school system and people can't read there in Oklahoma City. So maybe you didn't learn to read while you were there. But just drama, stupidity, just those three alone, man. Craziest goddamn three people in the NBA, and they all used to be teammates. Like they need to figure out where the fuck they were eating. Oklahoma City, shut that place down.
Because he fits in right with that same gang.
Probably out there eating sushi with the other three in Oklahoma City. You got to think if you're eating sushi in Oklahoma City, your ass is getting poisoned. But probably the four of them went to a sushi bar and got fucked up. That ain't right.
But yeah,
That's
James
those
Harden,
three, man.
I don't get it. Like, what you expect? The world does not revolve around you, James Harden. I'm sorry. It's probably newsflash, but Jesus.
I mean, you got to think like James Harden's belly is a little bit like Shaq's head, where it starts pulling things in a gravitational pull, or maybe you start thinking in the center of the universe, you're so goddamn big, gravity pull. I don't know. Just those three, man. We need some psych evaluation in Oklahoma City.
Absolutely.
I got a question for you about James Harden. And my question is this. Besides his stint in Oklahoma City, what has James Harden done to command all of this attention where teams are, with paying and, he's a great player, but the problem is he hasn't led any of his teams anywhere.
Well,
I mean, he hasn't done anything.
That's a great question.
Yeah, he's Gilbert Arenas 2.0. If you want to know the truth, he's Gilbert Arenas 2.0.
Damn.
He can fill up the stats, but he can't lead his team.
I don't think he's bringing guns on planes. But, it's kind of the same thing when you talk about him, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant, right? Now, he did win. Didn't he win 2 MVPs in Houston, right?
Just one.
Was it
just
one?
One, yeah.
He did win 1 MVP, but Junebug, you're right. Outside of that, he was a failure in the playoffs, much like Kevin Durant, much like Russell Westbrook, except when Kevin Durant went to Golden State. That's the outlier.
Right.
Those 3 years that he had in Golden State when he won 2 rings in 3 years, if you take those 3 years away, ain't none of them been relevant in the playoffs. So he got his contract in Houston. He won an MVP, but he couldn't do anything with Chris Paul. He couldn't do anything with Russell Westbrook in Houston. Damn sure couldn't do anything with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn. And even with the league MVP and Embiid came up short. They're all flash in the regular season. They'll get their stats. They'll all get their stats. Durant and Westbrook probably believe the earth is flat, just like Irving does. But you're right.
But he couldn't do it up against Golden State at the time. That was his prime opportunity right there.
Yeah, I get that, but how many players have been close to the NBA Finals if Chris Paul didn't get hurt in the playoffs? I mean,
right, that is true. And the funny thing was, though, right after that, once Chris Paul left, I don't know if you guys remember this, but he kind of just aired out all the dirty laundry and just shit all over James Harden. It was like he's a bad leader.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't want to practice. He practices by himself.
Mhm.
And it's telling because you could see it with his career. Like the fact that he just has never been able to get over that hump. It's like, yeah, he probably is a pretty kind of an ass and someone that you really wouldn't want to try and win a championship with at the end of the day. He had to step back, and that was kind of his claim to fame.
If you put me in a Phillies uniform and put Harden in the Phillies uniform, we would look damn near identical. And that's not a good thing. Because I'm 42 years old, and I'm weighing about 215, 220 right now. It's not good. I got pudge, but I'm not wearing a fat suit. But it's the same thing. I don't even know how he does it. I don't know how he runs up and down the court as much as he does with all that goddamn pudge. Like, I don't even know how Shaq did it. I don't know if you guys remember Shaq at the end of his career when he was with Cleveland and Phoenix or whatever. I was like, God damn, man. The moment they changed the rules.
Yes. Yeah.
And he could not draw the contact and get to the free throw line as easy as he could in Houston. His career was done. He was never as relevant as he could have been. He was never a defensive player. Never played defense. So crazy.
Yeah, Philly's gonna be interesting next year, but it's like Philly's just another one of those teams where it's kind of like the Commanders, where it's like they just can't get out of their own way. Where it's like even when they seem to have some momentum going, it's like, all right, Ben Simmons is out of the picture now. Now it's James Harden. Then we'll see what happens. Embiid will start saying something. It's like Philly's just one of those teams, man, where I don't know how Sixers fans do it, but God bless them.
But it's so crazy because the same owner who owned the Sixers now owns the Commanders.
God. And Junebug was excited. Now, before we go, I do got to know. Okay, so Junebug, we know that your allegiances lie with the Cowboys, but in the NBA, who's your squad? Dallas? Did you say Dallas? Lost you.
Lakers. The Los
Oh,
Angeles
your Lakers.
Oh, Lakers. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Lakers.
you cut out for a second. Okay, well, that will be fun when the NBA season.
Okay.
We have to say about the Lakers. One more. Okay, so college football. You got a squad in college football.
Hook 'em horns, baby.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. All right. Y'all ain't really been relevant since Colt McCoy.
Now.
And do you have a baseball team?
The Braves.
Braves. Okay. All right, Braves. Well, your Braves are looking up.
Yeah, they are.
I will say this, Junebug. I heard a crazy stat before we go because I know we got to go, Jalen. I heard a crazy stat about the Braves is that they have 4 players that have played every game so far this season. Okay? Now, want to know what's crazy about that? There are 23 teams out of the 30 teams in Major League Baseball that doesn't even have one player that has played every game this season. So the Braves are healthy, consistent. They got to be the favorite to win the World Series right now. They're just playing out of their minds. So, all right. Well, hey, I mean, I know you're a Cowboys fan, but at least you got the Braves to look up to. Hopefully win a chip. I don't think it's going to happen with the Lakers and the Cowboys. But
we lost you
do you
again.
have time for one more question, Jalen, before we get...
Yeah, go ahead.
I just got one more question for Jubug on this, because he said he's a Texas fan. We've had all this realignment happening. So I want to know what Junebug thinks about Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, and what he thinks his Longhorns are going to do in the SEC. Before we get going, I'm just interested. Oh, no, we lost him. Oh, there he is.
Oh,
you're back.
I'm not a fan of going to the SEC. I'm
Okay.
really not. I wish the Pac-12 would have took us Oklahoma instead of going to the SEC or just staying where we were. I really wish that would have happened. But I think the way Texas is going right now, the recruiting that they've done, we're going to be able to compete for years. But I think Arch Manning's junior senior year, I think we'll be able to compete in the SEC. So, I think
That's right.
that's what
They got the Manning boy. Yes. Okay. All right. I just wanted to know his take because it hurts my heart the alignment with college football. Like I wish, like now I am because of what's happened. I'm glad that my Washington Huskies are going to the Big Ten, but it's because the writing was on the wall with the demise of the Pac-12 when USC and UCLA left. I got to agree with Junebug, man. If we were not so pretentious and stupid, and we took Texas and Oklahoma a few years ago when we could have, I think the Pac-12 not only would be alive and well, it could be thriving in this college realignment. And so it just, that hurts my heart when you say that, Junebug, because I agree with you. I wish they were in the Pac. Pac's going to be no more. And I'm going to have to live with being in the Big Ten. And I hope we can do something. But, all right, well, we learned a little bit more about Junebug.
Yes.
We're going to have some fun when basketball comes.
Yes, the fact that you're a Laker fan is too funny. That's the team that we have no Laker fans on our current crew, but we talk about them almost every week during the NBA season. Just how it goes. But
God.
Anyway, before we get out of here, anything else you guys want to mention?
Trying to keep us here until 12:30.
I think that's about it. We're all at home this week, so it's a bit different. Anyway,
it's a lot easier.
Right.
It is easier. Ain't nobody gonna drive.
I always hated that commute into the studio.
Yeah. We will be back in the studio.
Yes.
Gail and I will be running the ship from the studio. At some point, we'll get Forehead Brown back. And,
if ever. I was confident on this week, but damn.
Maybe we'll get Nestor back from Sarasota at some, but he's in witness protection. Maybe in Columbia. We're not allowed to really confirm or deny that he's in Columbia or not. But we will be back, people.
Yes, inevitably. Yeah. All right, folks. We want to thank you all for watching and listening. Until next week, be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at AFR Sports. That is the easiest way to get onto community comments by leaving a comment on what we're talking about throughout the week. And